Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So today we're in our F-86F Sabre, which is an awesome plane. We're going to be doing a quick startup procedure, then taxi to runway, then take off and then land. So let's get kicking. So the first thing is we need to turn on the ground power to get this jet started. So it's / key. For me it's hashtag, but for most people it's / That gets this menu up here. Then F8 for ground crew, then F2 for electric power, ground electric power, and F1 for on.
Chief, turn on the ground power. Copy.
Now we're going to see a couple of dials move here once that power comes on.
Ground power is now on.
Lovely job, and we're good to go. So we've got the engine master on here, so that's engine master switch, let's turn that on. And the next thing we want to do is this switch here is a combi switch. It has off, it has starter, and it has battery. So we're going to click it down to starter for about 2 seconds and then up to battery. So that's left click 2 seconds and right click battery. Right, now we've got the RPM gauge, if we can find it. There it is. So this is the RPM percent of the engine. Once we're above 3%, we can move the throttle up, so that would be 3% there, so we're up to 4% now. We can press the home key, like so, and it moves us this lever into this position here. And then once we're past 6%, which again we're past 6% now, we press home key again. We are now up to idle, and that should rev and hold, so we'll just wait for that to finish. While that's revving, whenever we go up in our Sabre, we're probably going to be shooting something, so I'm going to go guns to all guns here. I'll right click there, and our master arm here to guns. The throttle has stabilised at 31%. Next I'm going to close that canopy, that switch there, and you right click on it and hold. There we go, and then release. It's much quieter. Next we can turn our ground power off, so again / key, F8, F2, and F2 for off.
Chief, turn off the ground power. Copy.
And for memory, it always leaves your speed brakes on, so let me just check that.
Ground power is now off.
Yep, you can see the speed brakes are out, so I'm going to turn my speed brakes off. I've done that with my joystick, but you can do it with the B key as standard, B for Bravo. Right, next we're going to taxi. So two things to say here. First of all, it's a really unresponsive, laggy engine because it's an old design. I think it's axial flow compressor, but still incredibly laggy, old style engine. So be patient, it will get there. And then there is steering. So we're going to have to press and hold the nose wheel steering button to be able to steer on the ground. So it's that one there, as standard it's S, or you can set it to your joystick. So you hold nose wheel steering and then use rudder control left and right, and it uses the front nose wheel. Right, so let's go and line up. Right, when you're at the runway, you can use W for wheel brake once you're in position. Also, we'll line ourselves up as best we can with the nose wheel steering, so I think that should do it. That's the end of the nose wheel steering. We're going to be using rudder authority only for the actual takeoff, and so that's wheel brakes there. Next, the flaps, which is this lever here. Either left click to go down, or you can cycle it with the F key, so down and up at the top. Right, we're going to go full power. We are going to rotate at 100 knots. We're going to lift off about 120 knots. 130 to 140 knots, we want our gear up. To do that, we're going to press the G key. Then flaps up by 160 ideally. We'll double check to make sure they're up here. And that will be us airborne. So let's go full power. Drifting a bit, so we'll get rudder authority soon. There, we've got rudder authority now. Turn back in. Good. 100 rotate. Airborne gear up. On 60, flaps up. And that's us airborne. In the sky, she's an absolute delight to fly. Really fast and turns absolutely amazingly. So we're going to have a flight and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do a landing. Right, we're on our way back in now. We are en route to runway 09. The Reapers, we do our circuits quite fast, about 300 knots. Initials. And we're going to brake. Now at this point, according to the manual, we want to be about 170 knots. But like I said, we do our circuits at 300 knots or thereabouts. So I'm going to keep the gas on. Extend a little on downwind. Right, so we'll run through our landing quickly. So we'll turn into base leg. That's where we're going to scrub our speed down to about 150 knots. We're going to be touching down at about 130 knots, I find is suitable. When we touch down, it's important to be extremely gentle. It's incredibly easy to damage the front landing gear on this plane. I've done it so many times. So when we touch down, I'm going to keep backstick keep backstick on so that we don't slam the front wheel down and damage it. And again, as well as that, no wheel braking until the front wheel is down and settled. Then we can wheel brake. That's the biggest problem I find with landing, is that gear and flaps will come down once we're past the yellow marker here on our speedo. So anything below kind of 170 knots, those will come down. So let's get on with it. Have to do some retrimming once the flaps come down. Just to make it a little easier on ourselves, we're going to extend downwind for a mile or so. And that'll do. Off the gas. Speed brake on. Because it's such a slow revving engine, we always land with the speed brake on. That means we have to use a bit more power, which helps the engine rev. It doesn't lend so much problem to the lag of the engine. Okay, now safe to put the flaps down. Now we're below the yellow mark. So flaps down 4. Retrim. Landing gear can also come down now. Little fast. 150. Let's go for a nice gentle touchdown if possible. I'm going to keep back stick so I don't slam the nose down. Nice gentle touch of the nose. Let it relax. Flaps back up. And then we can start wheel braking. Speed brake in. Nose was steering on. And we can taxi. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it's useful. And we'll see you later.